what's up guys, this is Cliff, you're watching Tech Endeavor, and if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, then this video is all about me building this computer case right here. On a previous video, I actually put together all the internal components, and I didn't have a case, but I went on and put all this together, and if you haven't seen that video, then I'll put it up here, you can click on that and watch that. But this video is all about my step-by-step process of how I actually built this thing and put it together. This is not a how-to video. This is not an instructional video, but it's just me documenting what I actually did. So let's just jump right in. So I started out by measuring and cutting some panels, and as you can see here, I'm 100% OSHA certified with my no workbench, my sandals I'm working with a drill very close to my toes. So after cutting out various boards and panels and walls, then I went and I took this sheet of paper and traced out the motherboard on it and marked all the spots where the mounting holes go. Then I took a little punch, got the holes started, drilled them out, then set the holes and mounted them to the backboard with these little standoffs. I prepped this aluminum angled and drilled some holes in it to get that ready to basically connect all of the sides. And this right here is a little mount for the hard drive, obviously. So at this point, I wasn't done with all of the kind of detail cuts, but I wanted to kind of dry fit it and assemble it because I'm impatient. I had to know what it kind of looked like, and I felt like putting it together would help me to see, what makes sense as far as how to make those little detail cuts and everything. I feel like you can see and you can think about things better when you put it together. That's just how my brain works. So that's what I did. And you can see here all those little angled pieces of aluminum. They basically created all of the 90-degree angles where all the panels connected together and makes it very strong. This part is so satisfying. It's beautiful. Here's the top piece. Connect it with a couple of hinges. Everything a coat of paint here. I had this taped off because originally I was only going to paint the inside black, which I thought would have looked really cool, and I was actually thinking about just staining the outside. But I decided not to do that and just paint the whole thing black, and I don't know, I think that the stain would actually look really cool, so. But, oh well, it's done now. I'm going to paint all the hardware, get that all to match. So this part right here, I kind of went back and forth on how to actually pull this off, but basically I'm using the speaker cloth to, you know, basically stop dust from coming in. So I kind of wrapped the front fans here, the intake fans, with this speaker cloth, and it just kind of acts as a filter. And it works pretty good. It's not a perfect solution, but it works. And actually, like, screwing these screws in like this actually locks the, it actually locks it in pretty tight. I think next time, if I was gonna do this again, I would make a little frame, like a square frame, and then kind of stretch the speaker wire, or stretch the speaker cloth over that, and just mount that to the inside, and then the speaker would just mount kind of independently of the cloth. But this worked, and this right here, you can see the outtake fan mounted to that back plate. So I went on and put everything together here. This is without the inside panels and the floor, just to see if everything was going to fit in nicely, and it did. I had to turn it on, had to make sure everything was still working, and this is where you can kind of start to see what the finished product is going to look like. What do you think, bud? He's ready to attack. Man, that was a long process. I started this probably, 6 months ago or so, and because of, you know, the big thing that's happening right now in the world, I can't say it so I don't get throttled by the algorithms. Basically, I started on this, I got pretty far, and then I kind of just put it down. I had a lot of other things that I was trying to figure out, and, you know, everybody's trying to figure things out right now, but anyway, eventually I came back to it and finished it up, and super happy with the way that it turned out. So I just wanted to kind of go over, you know, some of the ideas behind it, and the, you know, the design, and the, you know, not only just the visual design, but actually the engineering design, and, you know, airflow and things like that. So my original idea was, what I wanted to do was these right here, these would actually be kind of angled cuts, and that would actually wrap around to the front, and I just could not wrap my head around how to actually do that effectively. So I ended up just doing it like this, and this looks really good. It wasn't exactly the idea in my head. If I ever did this again, then I would go for it, but being my first one, I decided, hey, I'm just gonna do it like this. It's gonna be very close to what I originally thought. It just won't be exactly the same, but that's okay. You know, you have your ideas, and then they meet with reality, and you sometimes have to make compromises. That's just the way the world works. Originally, I was gonna put 3 fans here in the front, so one here, one here, one here, obviously. The reason for that, I was thinking, was because right here there's a floor, right? And underneath that floor is the power unit and all the cables that kind of run through to connect to the power unit. So my thought was have a couple fans here for all of this, and then a fan down here to blow air to relieve this. I ended up not doing that, and just there's an opening underneath here where the actual fan on the power unit actually pulls air away from it, and it never gets hot at all. It's got plenty of space. So I have these 2 fans here. This top one is kind of, you know, these are obviously both intake fans, and we're pulling air from the front to the back. The front, this top fan pulls this air unidirectionally, just one straight line all the way to these 2 fans that are on this CPU, and then this exit fan right here will just pull it straight out the back. Same similar thing with this fan here. The idea is the fan pulls the air straight on a line here. You have these 2 fans at the bottom, or 2 fans mounted to the GPU, and they're actually pulling air off of the graphics card. So they'll pull the air down. This blows the air into it. The idea is diffuse it upwards, and it'll catch one of these 3 fans here and pull it out. Another thing I wanted to mention was, if you remember back earlier in this video, I showed a couple of, those aluminum angle brackets screwed to the hard drive. What I did was, this panel on the right here, it's actually mounted to the back of that panel. I don't know if I showed that before. It's actually mounted to the back of that panel. And so when you open the top here, you can actually see down in there, and you can see where it's mounted to. And I left space so in the future I could actually put another one there as well. The thing that I probably spent the most time on when I was designing this, thinking about it, and assembling it was, how do I hide all the cables? And my solution was basically have these 2 panels that use standoffs to stand off from the back wall here, and that would give me a way to basically route everything behind. And then we have this floor here where everything goes behind and down, and then connect back to the power unit that sits about right here. So that's kind of how it's all set up. I use this thing a lot. It really is a beast. I mean, every game that I've played, it's been able to handle it. Like I said, I'm editing this video on it as we speak. It looks really cool. Yeah, I really think that the hardest part about this was, besides, having a way to hide all the cables, was how to access everything, right? I've seen cases where you have the back part that's removable, and I thought about things like that, and I ended up just going with this hinged top so I could lift it up, and then you have access down through to everything there, and it works pretty good. It's not a perfect solution, but it works for what I'm trying to do. And if I really need to get in there, I can pop a screwdriver in there, pop that panel off, and have access to everything. So it is what it is. And I think for my first time building a PC case, this turned out really good. I'm really proud of the way that it turned out. Now, cost. It cost me around $115 for everything. So, is it worth it? Is it worth it financially? Maybe not, because you can get a solid case that has RGB fans in it and all that stuff, and it's all set up and ready to go for maybe 75, 80, 100 bucks, and you don't have to build it. You just have to put all your stuff in it. So in that way, maybe not. But having the experience of doing it and saying that I did it, and having this one-of-a-kind case, there's not a single other case in the world like this. This is the only one. So having that's kind of cool. So it was a lot of fun to do. It was challenging. It really made me think about it, and I think that it made me understand computers a little bit more, having to actually think about how everything runs together, having to think about, how am I going to properly diffuse the heat and that kind of thing. So, but all in all, I think it turned out really well. Super happy about it. And yeah, I use this thing every day now, so it's really cool. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then like it. If you really liked it, then subscribe. If you want your friends to see it and like it, then share it with your friends, put it on your social media accounts, post it on the Twitter and all that stuff. And also, I have to wear this big, ridiculous headset on because I'm trying to get some decent audio here, because otherwise the audio is going to suck, and it still kind of sucks. So until I can afford a nice microphone to do these voiceovers, or maybe a little clip-on or something, then you're just going to have to deal with the Commander airline pilot headset. So that's where we're at. All right, I'll see you next time.